Hello there, everybody. Oh no, there we go. Watching my own stream. Hello there. Alright, let's see. Volume is on. That's good. There is no... Okay. So, welcome. If you followed any of the other videos or streams or looked at the other titles, what I've been doing is basically teaching myself how to use all these streaming services as well as OBS, and along with that, in order to do that, I thought I'd put together I had a computer to build, so I thought I'd use that as my first sort of project. So, with that, this is what we've been building in. It is a HTPC, so it's going to be going underneath a TV. Basically, it's going to end up replacing my Xbox One, which I know just sits out there, haven't been on in years at this point, basically to turn on Netflix. So, but last time we didn't have the GPU because it was still in the mail. And so this time we are going to install that. So we're going to take the top off here. Just set that there for now. So if you want to look at the inside of what it looks like, kind of upside down with it like this, but what we have here is we have we got a big old fan up here, smaller little fan down here, like a server fan. We got 2 normal case fans down here. What I did last time is I had run a CPU cable along the back side of the motherboard. I didn't like that, so off camera I put in a different CPU, 2 different CPU cables, and they run along the front now over to here. I mean, it's possible. I guess you could run something behind the back here, but I just didn't like it. It was too tight. It was too much pressure on the pins here. I didn't like that. So we're not going to do that anymore. So I took that out. Let's see what we got here. That'll get out of the way. Okay, so we have a 5700X 3D as our CPU, AM4. So it's an AM4 motherboard, which is an X570 Plus, Tough Gaming, Asus. Asus is Tough Gaming, so Asus. We have a 2. Did I actually put one in there? Yeah, I believe so. We have 2 SSDs, one 500 gigabyte, I believe, and the other one I believe is at least a terabyte, if not 2 terabytes. And then we have a 3 terabyte HDD that's under the disk drive here that sits vertical, which is interesting. I had a second one we were going to put in, but we couldn't do it because this bracket here that this disk drive sits on, I had to bend the piece up here so it fit around this heat sink. So that's interesting. I don't know how the airflow is going to work for that, but for what this computer is going to be doing, I don't think it's going to be a big problem. And then we have an SFX PSU, which is a tight little guy here, 1000 watts, but that'll power everything no problem. But it's nice and tiny, and it just fits in here. But you got, you kind of pay for the size. But my last one was tight; it came right up to here, which made it difficult for the fans to fit. So I went with a smaller guy. Makes this so much easier to do the cords. But it also came with very short cords then because of it. So that makes this more difficult. And we'll see if this gets in our way. I have another power cable for the motherboard that's longer if we need to switch that out, which we might have to do today, because our GPU, our 5700 XT, our Sapphire Nitro Plus 5700 XT, which is what I was waiting for. Got this for about $150 on eBay. Is kind of big. It takes up a lot of space in here. So we're going to have to slide that in there and see what happens. It's going to be a tight fit, I guess. And we got to fit it into that first little slot there, and I hope it fits. Oop, goes this way. So we should have just enough room. Might have to finagle it around this front piece here, go in at an angle and slide it back in to get it to fit in there right. It's almost a guarantee. I'm almost guaranteed I'm gonna have to take this power cable out, because there's just no way these are gonna go low enough for that thing to. Well, maybe they'll be okay. I'm not gonna be able to do very much to change anything if I do that, though. Decisions. Because that's the first thing we're going to have to do if that's what we're going to do. So we might have to do that right now. So, in order to do that, though, I may have to remove this disk drive. in order to get in there. Which is unfortunate, because I was really hoping that this shorter cable would work, because it's such a nice quick run. This cable is just not going to be very useful to us in other situations, you know? So it's kind of unfortunate if it doesn't work for us here. Just kind of an unfortunate thing, because with it being basically from here straight to there, that's about the shortest run you're ever going to get in a computer. Well, in a ATX board anyway. So, we're going to start there. I'm going to start by removing this guy and putting the other power cable in for the motherboard. If you have any questions, feel free to post them in the chat. I have it here, so hopefully I catch it. But I'm not very good at paying attention to it, so... If you come in late and you don't know what I'm doing, let me know. We are going to be putting Bazzite on this, so along with the 5700, we are then going to install Bazzite, the Linux distro, as our operating system. As the main purpose of this computer is to run games and entertainment purposes like Netflix and that kind of stuff. So you can see here how I had to bend the panel up. Normally it would be out like this one is, but I had to bend it down in order to get it around this cooler here, which unfortunate because it took away one of our spots for our hard drive, which is right here. You can see it being kind of in a weird spot right there. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not full. There we go. Well, all of that for this, huh? There, get out of the way. There you go. The chat is ready to display messages. We'll display the messages then. Alright. So yeah, you can see what I'm doing there then. So, like I said before, you can see all that's in there a little better, a little bigger, because I had it on the wrong thing. That was what I was going to talk about second. But what we need to do now, like I said, is remove that power cable, which is hard to see when everything in there is black. There we go. Take that guy out and remove it from up here. Like I said, it's going to be unfortunate because... Come on. That's just unfortunate because look how much shorter that cable is to the one we're going to be putting in instead. So it's unfortunate that we couldn't have that shorter cable, as that would save us a lot of cable space. I don't know what I'm going to do with that cable, basically, for what should I say? Does this go this way? I don't know what I'm going to do with that cable for other builds or other uses. I don't know if there's a purpose I'm going to have for it. There we go. Click. Alright, we want to go around this through here. I want to almost use this to push everything else out of the way. Oof. we go. And then connect up the PSU here. Try not to get it stuck in that fan. This one's almost too long. One's too long and one's too short. 3. Goldilocks. I don't have one that's just right. So we got those up out of the way. Hopefully that stays out of the way of the fan there. What do you think? Should we put the GPU in next? Might be easier, and then we can put this back in later since we already got it out. So we have to take this thing off. This case is something special. You can go buy it still if you really want to. But it's fine in that regard. It's special considering it's an HTPC type case. It also can be placed into a server rack if you absolutely wanted to, which means you could like put a computer directly into your server rack, which is probably its most useful part because that's not necessarily a common thing to be able to have a computer that could go in and out of a server rack. Okay, which ones we gotta take out for this guy? We have to take out the first one, right? Oh, this is gonna be so tight. And I don't mean that in the good way. I mean that in the... This is gonna be a struggle kind of way. Okay, so we need to take out the... What's in the way here? Okay, so we actually have to take out the 2 and the 3 and leave the 1. That's interesting. Okay. This is the most difficult part of the case, is these tiny little holes you have to put it through to get to the little fix. It is a... The case is a wonder, is all I can say. It's funny because I just watched a random video with the LTT, the Linus Tech Tips show, and they ironically had this case. I think it was them. And it is... They had the same funny thoughts I did about it. It is just a weird case, useful in its weirdness, but you know, unintended weirdness, I guess. Ugh, what are we in? What is in our way here? We somehow have to get it to go. This is insane, because the last GPU I had was just as big as this one. Here, we're going to take this off for a second. that out of the way. We're going to pull this chair out of our way, and we're going to really get in there. I'm gonna have to switch that to the other. I have to switch that, huh? Is it gonna be long enough if I switch it? That shouldn't be a problem. I think it'll be okay if I switch this. So it goes then to the top. Let's hope it's long enough. If I switch this, it's going to be close. It's going to be close if I switch it. Fingers crossed. It'll be a very short stream if the GPU doesn't fit, huh? Let's just see what we have here. If we put this here, oh, that's not long enough. Okay, we gotta go back the other way. Oh, I wonder if I have a longer one. I think this one's longer. Should give me a lot more space. Just another damn it to go with my. Let's just see if this is longer. Oh yeah, much longer. Perfect. Okay. Okay. Boom. Click that. Now, we want this to go up and over this guy here. So it's out of the way. That to go back in there. Okay, there we go. There we go. There we go. And then we need that to go up. This comes back around. Hopefully I can show you what I did in a second. Alright. So essentially I just replaced our much shorter cable. Came with the... This is the one issue. You can't, if you buy an SFX, it's designed for small form factor. You're gonna end up with short cables. It might not work for you. It's unfortunate on that one because that would have been wonderful if that would have worked for us. But now we should have plenty of space there. And this one we gotta spin this cord around. Okay. Pull that over right away. Get that out of the way. Okay. Keep it plugged in. Those cables gotta stay low, but they should be okay as long as they're as low as the SATA ports. This is gonna be a little tight here. Just tuck that over. Tuck that over. I don't think I'm gonna get above all of this. Hopefully enough of it can squeeze along the front. Maybe this can just fit right up in here. Hopefully that's up out of the way if it's like that. You can always come back this way once it's on the other side of this GPU. Alright. Round, I don't know, 3, 4, whatever number we're on. Yep. Oh, come on. Well, you know what didn't come in yet is the damn little wing clip I bought, because the wing clip was missing for this, and I guess I didn't really think about it because it doesn't matter. The overall use of this board, because it just sits right down in it, it doesn't really need a PCIe lock. Right? So, come on, where are you? There's one screw. We're gonna go over why I picked the this GPU in a second. That was from that very first screen. There we go. That's in. This is more or less out of the way. A little tight in there, but it's more or less out of the way, I guess. This would actually be better if it came around this cable the other way. There is not a lot of cable management, quote unquote, in this case, because everything just goes over the top. There is no glass top, there is no, viewing thing of any kind. There's no cable management options along the back like it is in modern cases. So it's just, boom, there it is. You just put it all in. Come on, SATA power. Now there's not going to be any GPU slag because the power cable for the power cable for the motherboard is holding it in place. This needs to go over the top. This can't go underneath. This needs to go like this. And then, come on, just fit in here. Just go. Why aren't you going down? The fan's in the way. There we go. Oh, there's cables in the way. Those cables from before are in the way, I'm sure. I need you to come over to this side. There we go. Aha. Oh, boy. All right. There we go. We can put this guy back in place now. I feel like I have Kermit the Frog legs with this big long adapter on here. So glad that the Twitter bot chose to join me, grace me with its presence to tell me where to get followers or whatever. Alright, let's get our chair back up here so I'm not sitting so far away. When we get to the more fun parts, and by that I mean staring at the computer as it updates itself and runs its own programs, and we do nothing except watch. Alright, that's straight in there, right? Yeah. That's straight. And that's going to hold into place. I have absolutely no idea if all the parts for this work. We're learning that together. Me and you and no one else who's watching. It's okay. Okay. Now, we need to hook up the power for the PCI, for the GPU. So we got these PCIe cables. They came with the SPF. Again, they're nice and short, but in this case, that should actually help us because we're only running from here to there. So that should actually help us in this case. Now, almost all of your PSUs are going to come with this sort of daisy chain cord. And for the most part, you could just use this. From what I understand, these cables, for the most part, and it could be different from cable to cable, PSU to PSU, but this should be rated for about 300 watts. Same with this one. They should all be rated for 300. At the very minimum, they should be rated for 150. Now, if they have a daisy chain, they should be 300. Otherwise, they're selling you a product that's likely to burn your house down. So, in order to be safe, though, we are not going to use the daisy chain. We are going to use the second cable that they came with. The daisy chain is useful if you had 3 PCIe slots here, and you have like a, you know, like a 450 watt that's a little high, like a 300 watt 350 watt GPU, right? Then this cable and this cable should be able to handle that 300 watt GPU. If you have a 450 watt GPU, you should really try to get 3 cables. Because just because you don't know whether or not it does or doesn't do what it says it should do, whether it does what it seems like it should do. So we're going to use both of them to plug in the PCUs here. Now I got to find out where PCU parts are. Oh, nice and easy right here on top. So we got these 2 right here in the top in our module PSU. Module just means that it's got all these little plugs in there, and it all doesn't just come out as a spider web at the back. It means we can just plug these guys in instead of having to deal with a big old mess of cords, some that we don't necessarily need. Oh, come on, are you not gonna cooperate? Do I got the wrong end? Yeah, I got the wrong end. I need this end. I'll plug right in. This one I want the end that isn't. Got the daisy chain. There we go. Easy enough. Now we're going to plug in PSCIe cables here. This is going to be tight when we put the top on, but I think we should be okay. This is where the shortness of these are actually going to help us out, because they're just going to fit right here into the case, into the cavity here. That normally would be a little bit more of a struggle. Oh man, this is a bunch of loose cords. Oh shit. Where are those? Here, let's get these back on here. Let's put these back on so that the cords aren't so loose. There we go. I'll keep that side together. Let's get this one tied back together. Alright, that is going to go in here, and I want this to tuck in there out of the way. This is going to go right here. And that's going to tuck that up out of the way. All right. Hopefully this is enough up out of the way. My last GPU in here, my previous build, it was tight then too, so this is just going to be tight. There should be enough space. That's just going to be tight. Alright, let's put the top on. Make sure she fits. I know she turns on because we had fans last time, but the 5700X3D CPU doesn't have integrated graphics, and because of that we had no way of checking if anything actually worked. There are advantages to not having integrated graphics. It leaves more of the CPU available for other things, which is kind of what's happening in the case of the AM4 X3Ds. Is they got rid of the integrated graphics so they could basically fit the X3D parts into it that do stuff. They have a huge L3 cache, and so getting rid of the integrated graphics helps make space for that. The AM5 ones have integrated graphics, from what I understand. I don't know, I don't have one, but I assume they do. I believe they do when I looked it up. And those obviously were planned that way. Whereas the AM5 3D cache was not planned that way. So it was added later. But that just means they'll come out with an X3D version of the AM5 chip, and they'll have to get rid of the integrated graphics so that they can do something there, add to that. Alright, let's plug some stuff in. HDMI cable into the GPU. Plugged it from the TV or from the monitor. That is all set up, ready to go. I was prepped. No idea what HDMI cable that is, but that'll have to do. And then for the computer, all right. Computer is plugged in. Let's get some of this stuff out of the way. And now you can watch me confuse the keyboard from this computer with the keyboard for the other computer as I try to remember which is which and do stuff back here. So let's see what happens, huh? Oh no. What have we done wrong? All the fans turned on last time. All right. I guess we're opening it back up. Finding out why it doesn't want to turn on. seated in here. Is there a light at least that tells me if there's power here? I wonder if that's a bad outlet. There's power to the there. Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. I wonder if the cable was no good. That would be very frustrating if it was a bad cable. I have no good way of testing it. Did it come unseated when I put this in? If this ain't the content you came for, don't know what is. Nothing like a computer that just doesn't want to work. Let's try unplugging these cables quick. Okay. So it isn't like a power loop or something weird like that. So, okay. Oops. More screw to take out. Do it the other way. Just take this bracket out. Where's my phone? I have a light somewhere. Still seated in there all the way. Or is this the problem? I guess I didn't try to turn it on after I plugged in the CPU powers last time. So I wonder if it's that. That looks okay. There's a pin missing. Well, that's no bueno. I don't know if I have another power cable. power cable. Oh, this one's missing it too. So that's not an issue. Thing goes into that slot. That's interesting. I'm sure they're all the same here. Yeah, that seems fine. It's not the power supply that died. That would be disappointing, because that is new. I do wonder if the person I got that used cable from, the reason they sold it and the rest of their parts is because that wasn't working. Well, we might have to pull it out, plug in the other one, and just see if it's the reason. Plug this one back in and see if it turns on. See if that's the problem. Or if this one can even get there though right now. It's gonna be a heck of a reach. Even without the CPU, we should get board power. We should get fans, right? Get this to fit, we might not move it. Boy, is that close. Damn it. Okay, so it's probably not that. Let's unplug these guys. Is this a bad cable? That worked before. Okay, so the last thing is the CPU cable power. Which is a pain in the ass to get to. Alright. Let's see if this is the reason. Plug one of them. This I might have backup for CPU cable. Maybe. Probably a white one though. Let's just see what happens if I... Okay. Did I mess up the power switch? Unseat these. have another. This can't work. Doesn't say CPU on it. Let's try this for CPU power. See if this works. Which is the one I took out? Now I don't remember. I think it was that one. So this is the one we'll put in. The only thing left, if it isn't the ported fucking cell. I have sticking tool or something good. These I have a ton of somewhere. this is on, so this is getting power somewhere. Not this then. And we just gotta pop open the, reset the BIOS. Let's replug that in. Seem to be this. Oh boy. Reset the BIOS. Sometimes that does it. Let's leave it up for a while. This will be annoying because it did turn on last time. Fans spun and everything. Seems okay. It's just LEDs, that's on there. Oh shit. Nothing at all. So, what did I break? Fuck. Fuck me, come on. Come out of there. It shouldn't affect the power. Okay. Well, I'll just unplug these different items here. Okay. So, we can take the GPU out, see if it fires up. It's the only option left, because the only thing I could think of is I fucked up one of these cords. I fucked it up down there. Seems like a stretch. up the GPU and see if she starts up. Let's see if it's enough to say let's start. I wonder if those CPU cables don't work. Which I have more of those, but I switched them already, so that they both don't work. I don't understand if one doesn't work. Are both of them not working? That's crazy. I mean, it could be the SATA drive here too, but that was working before. I guess we switched that cable, didn't we? Let's just unplug it. Yeah, I think so. Crazy for a SATA cable to be the reason it's not working. I mean, that shouldn't be a problem. If it's down in there, it doesn't really touch that. there was a little green light or something. Well, there's a light. It's a red light in there. I don't know if that means anything. Oh no, it's not red light. It's just a red box that's reflecting. Well, this is a much more boring stream than I was hoping for. Because we might not solve this problem. By we, I mean me, basically. You're not really going to be able to help. Seems okay, that seems okay. Let's unplug these guys. Shit. I didn't break anything. Maybe that's what it did last time. I dropped my phone in here. Did I fuck it up? No, I didn't loosen anything when I did that. Everything seems fine. switch them out here. Come on. Turn this down. That's getting power. So it's not the power strip. I checked the cable already. I switched out the cable. I mean, it could be the power supply here. I have a second one we could switch out. But where are those, not that, not that. No. Where are those short CPU cords? This here, what about those? Anything that's really all that different is the PCU power, or the CPU power. So, these are the cables that were on it before that worked to at least give it fan power before. At least had fans. So, let's connect this up. See if that is the issue, but I feel like we should be getting fans. Come on, just go. Damn it. Come on. Catch. Grab. Catch, catch, catch. CPU cable as opposed to the motherboard cable. Just put this all back in. I'll go steal the other. Grab now. One last. Okay. So what we're going to do is try a second power supply. It's the exact same one. So this will, I guess, give us a pretty good idea of what's, at least see if this is the issue. Never had a bad power supply unit. Let's start with the board power. I don't know which of these CPU ones is the main one, so we're going to have to plug them both in. So it's probably not the power supply then. That one's also not working. Well, we can start it with a screwdriver maybe. Let's just see if that's the issue here. Nope. Man, the auto clicker was telling me that 30 minutes of my life had disappeared. How wonderful. Jesus fucking Christ. Nothing is loose. Well, that's loose, but that's always been kind of loose. Well, that was a anticlimactic stream. Looks like we're just gonna fail. I am going to end the stream now and take some of this offline. Hopefully I can come back online and finish this up later.